letters and calls with any and all of the supervisors. It doesn't just have to be Desmond at this point. It's more effective if you're in the district of the supervisor. If you have friends and family that are in other districts in San Diego County, ask them to call from their districts. When you go to testify, the typical practice is, my name is so-and-so, I live in Borrego Springs or wherever, and I'm in District X, right? And so because the supervisors want to know if you're from their district to gauge the temperature for their district, and they're particularly concerned with their districts. But also raise the issues that are going to affect any district. Anza Borrego Desert State Park is sacred to everybody in San Diego. It doesn't matter where you're from. And the impacts can spread beyond just the community. So those are things to raise, but remember, you'll have 1 minute, and that goes like that.
Yeah. If you sign up to speak, is it guaranteed everybody that signs up will have the opportunity to speak? There's 100 people
We have
that
to
want
reserve.
Pardon me?
You have to reserve. You can do it online
So,
and reserve to speak.
I mean at the meeting.
Or we
Right.
just show up.
No, at the meeting, to speak at the meeting. Is it guaranteed you'll get your time?
Oh, like if they have like 2,000 people sign up that they want to
Exactly.
speak?
Yes.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's likely that everybody will be able to speak.
There's no
500 people
guarantee.
show up, maybe not.
But you can do it online and reserve, and they'll confirm the reservation to speak
Okay.
on agenda number 25.
Okay, thank you.
I did have just a kind of an idea. I know that we have a lot of people in our area who it might be daunting for them to just think about driving down and parking in San Diego for the meeting. So I thought maybe on our social media we could post asking if anybody would be willing to carpool and put their name out, offering to meet up here at the community center or wherever you could meet up and drive people down to the meeting so that, the people who might not have the transportation could still make it to the meeting.
Sure. No, I was gonna mention that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also think that on our social media, if we can post the actual link where someone can watch it. People may not want to speak, but they want to be engaged, and if they're given the link that says at this time, at this date, you can click this, they can sit in front of their TV at 9 a.m. and have their coffee all morning and wait till Agenda 25 comes up. Just a thought.
Good point. Okay. Do you have anything else on that subject? Thank you for coming. Okay, I'm moving on to the Warner School District. They're meeting tonight to hopefully pass a resolution to oppose the project. Okay, so hopefully we get that, and then there's 2 or 3 other school districts along the route that we can go to them and say, Warner Springs is proposing, we'll have to pass a resolution to oppose it as well.
If you're in touch with them, if they do pass a resolution, encourage them to communicate that directly to the Board of Supervisors, both beforehand with a letter, but also if they can send it out, that would be very powerful.
More notes. Good point.
You might also consider, I don't know how they would handle it, but you might reach out to Jim Desmond's office and see if they would give you a time slot for an organized presentation for just, say, Warner Springs. The agenda item is hearing about impacts against Borrego Desert State Park, but they might, and they give more time typically for an organized presentation, up to 10 minutes, I understand. So it's worth asking if you want to do that.
Yeah. Never hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Okay, good point. Okay, Warner School District, Justin, did you hear anything from Cal Fire Union?
Nothing recently, so about a week and a half ago, I got in contact with Billy Tomasello, who, as I understand it, is the San Diego head of the Local 2881 Firefighters Union for CAL FIRE. And he had agreed to write us a letter of opposition for toward the GB Powerlink project. And at the time, he had requested that I send him an email, just giving him some additional details to craft his letter. He's friends with, I can't remember the guy who wrote the one for Temecula, but I got in contact with him. I spoke with him on the phone. He seemed very gung-ho about it, said he'd try and shoot me a letter by the end of the week. Then this fire happened up here, so I was like, all right, I'll give him a couple days. I hit him up on Tuesday and last week, and nothing. And then I called him again yesterday, and still nothing. So I'm about to just, I'll shoot him a text and then another email, but then also double tap with the union themselves and see what's going on. Because I'm like, why did I suddenly lose contact? I don't know what's going on with that. But he seemed very on board with crafting a letter for us and asked if there was anything else he could do. And I was like, at present, that alone would be great, and then we'll let you know. I haven't heard anything from him, so I just gotta work that angle. As far as groundwater goes, I want to touch on this just to inform all of you. This is something that we've done our research on, but just so you're aware, we do have groundwater here. Everybody knows that, but the chemical leaching that would come from galvanized steel or any kind of stainless steel, the materials that these things are built out of, would leach heavy metals into our water supply, and not just ours. So what we've come to realize is, and this might be one of our workarounds with the tribes, is that our groundwater supply in this area doesn't just supply us. It goes on to Escondido and other parts of the county as well. And some of the tribes sell that water. And they have I think some sort of agreement federally to sell that water. So that gets them on the federal level. That's something they have to care about for two reasons: because it is federal, one, and two, because it affects their bottom line. Furthermore, that allows us to solicit further endorsement outside of our region and outside of even the path of this thing, because it indirectly, or actually pseudo-directly, affects other parts of the county's water supply. So it's bigger than that little line on the map. You know, there are a lot of reasons. I mean, there's every reason not to do this thing, but with regards to the groundwater, that's huge, because now it's like, oh shoot, it's not just Temecula, Warner Springs, Palomar, and Borrego. It's also Escondido.
And
It's also-
Vista, City of Vista.
And Vista Irrigation District, which I know you've got on your agenda. So, and it's not just Vista Irrigation District that we have to contact about this now. Now it's the county water district, right?
Well, I think that should be brought up at the Board of Supervisors meeting.
Right.
I
Well,
think
we only have a minute.
I know, you know, the groundwater bringing in potential other cities that, because Vista and Escondido do have unincorporated areas that will be represented by Juntas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's all we got for me.
Okay, I'm gonna go quick.
Yeah,
7:30-ish. Actually, we have one more presentation I want to squeeze in. We did last month, we formally asked the Vista Irrigation District to take a position against the Golden Pacific Powerline project. Now, I emailed them today, asked them what the status of that was, and if it's on their agenda. And I hadn't heard back, so I'll follow up on that. It's kind of interesting when you guys are talking about the alternative routes and you're saying it would go across Vista property. Right?
Yeah. Either way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but when I spoke to them before, they would know that'll never happen. So, I don't know.
Who said that?
Leslie, well, I'll find it.
I mean,
Yeah.
SDG&E doesn't care. I mean, they went across water lands, the Sunrise Powerlink went across water lands.
Interesting, okay. Well, I'm just telling you what they told me.
Yeah.
And again, maybe they formally oppose it, but it sounds like you won't.
Did they tell you in writing, or is that over the phone?
No,
Because if that's an inconsistency, we can document.
well, no, they haven't, I've asked for it in writing to formally oppose it, not just tell me it's a no.
I mean, if
the
you
girl,
have an
the girl.
opportunity
Yeah,
to respond,
Leslie, yeah.
you know, if they can say, oh, that won't happen, it's water district.
Right.
like,
I want.
Right.
They're perfectly happy to put it across water district. There's nothing that water district land, you know, inherently blocks building a power line.
Wow, okay, all right. So that's all I had for that. I'll follow up on that and we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I think David missed Megan's request to try to find what to do about the legal, trying to write the legal papers and all that in the beginning, if you haven't managed this.
I think we've actually been in contact with
Okay.
you about ideas on how we could maybe find some pro bono legal help in drafting our protest so that we could.
Did you and I email?
I don't know if I think it was all through
That's right,
Lori,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, things are looking pretty good for us lining up the attorneys we were hoping for. You know, they are also considering taking it on partial contingency. They want some significant financial assurance before they'll take it on contingency. So, you know, we're looking at 50 to 100 grand commitment for that. And that's separate from, you know, Save Temecula is pursuing their own legal representation. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a bunch of environmental attorneys out there. You're right, there's a much narrower field of environmental attorneys that have experience with the Public Utilities Commission. You were lucky enough to find one of them. The reason we got them is because I started reaching out last summer to try and line up attorneys, because it was like, oh, I hear a freight train coming. So they were interested. It's looking good for that. It's not final.
So are they representing the coalition of ADF and Conservancy?
Yes.
And Sierra Club too, or?
It's not clear whether Sierra Club will be, you know, an actual coin. Yeah. But definitely Chaparral Land Conservancy and the Borrego Foundation.
Is there any way we
I mean, yeah, it's just, you know, it's a little, we ended up deciding to go separate routes with Save Temecula because their interests are different. You know, and in theory, it's similar with Save Warner Springs, but my sense is that there's much more alignment with Save Warner Springs. You know, it would be a better fit for legal representation, but you would, you know, you wouldn't have much autonomy. You know, you'd be attached to this, you know, effort that's already going.
We have a lot of geographic proximity to you too, though,
Yeah.
versus Temecula. So that's a huge factor.
Okay.
So that's something we can talk about more.
No, I'll bug you tomorrow or the next.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burn slow. Okay, we have one last thing, on the agenda, and I'm hoping you'll stick around, but probably, but I gotta cut you down on time. A little bit. A lot.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'll just be quick.
Mike's a resident of the area, down at Oak Grove, and he has a presentation to make on ACDC alternative routes discussion.
It's actually HVDC. It's like high voltage DC, the register.
Not the band.
Not the band. So, when I was at the last meeting, you know, I started thinking there's no way we're gonna stop this on tape, but I would really like that we could stop it completely, but I started thinking there's other alternatives. I've done projects around the world and I've seen that they're doing all this stuff and they're doing HVDC and they're doing it underground. So what that, you know, it's easier to do transmission of DC current than it is to do AC. You can't do AC underground, it's impossible. But if they convert it from AC to DC and then they do it underground, it's feasible and it's possible. The only main drawback is that it's like way more expensive. But that's SDG&E's comment will say, well, they can't do it, it's too expensive. That's initial cost. They don't add in costs for lawsuits down the road, getting land from eminent domain, all this other stuff that they would have to do over years. So all the research I've done, if they were to take and do it, which they're mandated to do, is like from a 20-year to a 30-year span, the cost spread those out over the years, it would work out that HVDC would actually be similar in costs. Initially, no, but over the long run, yes. And the other thing about it is that it's all underground, it's hidden, there's some disturbance, but the footprint is not 250 foot, whatever the towers are. It's minimum, it comes down to like 100 feet, I think it is. And SDG, so I did a whole bunch of investigating, and SDG&E, they will come right out and admit that the towers are a wildfire risk, and that if they were to do it underground with a HVDC, it's almost mitigated the risk completely. It's almost all gone. So they will, and I've done all this research, and in my presentation here, I have all the points that they say why they can't do it, and the reasons that it can be done, and most of those reasons come from analysis that they have done in the past. So they're just trying to hide the information that they can't do it. And these projects are being done all across the US, they're being done across Europe, and they're doing it because it's safer, and it's like people don't object to it as much, and they don't have the legal thing. And the other things, there's a couple federal and state directives, bills, I can't remember what the other word is, but where they're supposed to use highway right-of-ways and work with Caltrans and use the highway right-of-ways so that they're doing it beside the highway. They're not talking about doing it under the highways, but using the right-of-ways, so you follow the right-of-ways. And this way, they could go along the 78 corridor and then up to the I-5 and up the I-5, or up the 15. So there's those, and then there's also the next gen highway directive, which tells them to do that and to use the right-of-ways. So there's both, you get the state and the federal that's saying that they should look into these things. So like I said, I've got a whole big thing. I have sent it to CPUC already, but I'm also working on it and getting more updates and information on it. Basically, yeah, we want to stop them completely. If we can't, we've got to try to give them an alternative. Underground is done, it's feasible, and it's a better solution. Towers are old and outdated. And with the underground, they can easily add, if you were saying they wanted to add more lines, underground it can be done ahead of time.
Well, he's talking about the underground. You're talking about 500,000 volt line.
No, you're not, because you're converting it to DC.
Well, yeah, that way. They're not gonna do that. They want to put their own power in.
Well, it's still their power.
66 is the biggest underground.
It's still their power. It's just they have the stations at either end are bigger. It's been done worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
So the only reason they're not doing it is cost.
Is the cost from the conversion from AC to DC?
Yes, the big cost, the trenching, and that's the other thing. California is the leader in drilling underground. They're HCD, which is horizontal direct drilling. They're into micro tunneling, and they're doing tunnels. California's a leader in all that.
Musk has put some big tunnels up in LA, so
But
he can do it.
So, and California's they're a leader in doing this, and yet we're not going to do it for a project like this. That makes no sense.
If you aren't aware of it, for the Sunrise Powerlink, they did do, I believe it was 2 parallel 230 kV lines underground through the community of Alpine. So they
But that's AC.
Yeah, those are about
AC.
Yeah, AC is, there's a lot more to AC underground. If you convert it to DC, it's a lot different.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, I can give you a copy of what I did if you want to read it, but.
Yeah, the technical stuff is.
I'd read it.
Talk to me about
That's
legal
great.
and environmental.
Can you get that in an email too?
Yeah, I did send it, and I gave it to Frank, and Frank has looked at it. And that's the thing that I talked to Frank before coming here. He talked to someone at CPUC, and they say it's the cost. The reason that they won't is the cost. So, but you'd have to convince them that, it's not just about cost. And it's not short-term cost. Again, they're talking short-term. It's initial cost to build it. The towers are like about $1.some billion they're claiming. Underground with the stations are like $10 billion. But the thing is that you can easily add more lines, you can add more voltage, you can increase it, and if they plan ahead, they can put extra lines in.
Hopefully I know which day to
Mike.
play.
Sorry you ran out of time.
That's fine. That was it. That's basically it.
Great information.
There isn't, and I've done so much research on it, it's all there. Oh, and one other thing too is, if we get this in during the process, and we say, okay, you know, we submit this plan, if they don't go through, because we've submitted it and they got it in writing, we can then say, you know, if you do not follow through this process and actually check you're actually negligent, and they will be responsible for everything if there is a fire. So that may scare them, may not scare them, but it's still something there. If you post it and they don't go through with doing the research, all the research on this, and if they say it's just cost, then they'll be negligent when the fire does come up.
Okay, so you leave some of the copies?
Yeah,
I said sweet.
Yeah.
there's a couple. I did the one that I did, and then I've been, like I said, I've been trying to refine it because, just to make it,
Okay.
so that, yeah, so it's not as
Great
technical.
info.
Yeah, good, great info. Okay.
Yeah, I try to keep away from technical.
We need to break, I'll let you all go home like the Dodger game. Are you losing that?
I'd like one too.
Give us the win. But we need to go to a closed meeting for us.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Dave, for coming.
Do you have a question? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the yard signs are wonderful, but where do we get the big banners like at Garage 79? Is that something we
It's the
can?
same company that does
Yeah.
the,
Hey, don't tell me that there's